At such moments, you didn't catch it easily or like rapidly. They are shooting. Okay, you can hear the gunshot in the background. This is the Israeli airplanes shooting. I remember that I just sat on the chair with the table, and a very nearby explosion were heard, like around. Many explosions. Suddenly, Rushdi just moved from being beside me, and he stood in front of me and my daughter, and he opened his arms. And I was like, at that moment, I was really, confusing what he's doing. So I put my hand on his shoulder, like I was asking him, like, what are you doing? Before even ending my sentence, everything went into into dust.
Welcome back to Falasteeniya, the new podcast hosted by me, Hala Hanina, that seeks to amplify the voices and expertise of Palestinian women, as well as showcase their struggles, endurance, and resistance. We're joined today by Shrouq Al Aila, a Palestinian journalist, producer, and researcher, who has been reporting from the Gaza Strip throughout the genocide. Shrouq leads Ain Media, an independent production company co-founded by her husband, who was killed by the Israeli occupation on the 22nd of October 2023. Despite repeated displacement and constant danger, Shrouq continues her work reporting and documenting the genocide and its devastating impact on the people of Gaza. Through her reporting, she not only shows the truth, but also stands on the front line of preventing erasure. Shrouq, happy to see you. Thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? How was your life before the beginning of the genocide? And how your life and career were shaped as a woman and a journalist in Gaza?
Well, like if we are going to compare between life before the genocide and life during the genocide, I cannot have words to put it together to describe the catastrophic situation that we are enduring. But I remember, because I can partly remember these days because of the famine, and like food. But I remember sometimes, like before the war, we were somehow focusing in producing video clips about and like doing stories about success stories here in Gaza, about how people managed to have a window of relief under the siege and under occupation here in Gaza Strip. And I remember that we were focusing on the bright side of Gaza, basically, and but recently, what we are like working on is totally different. We are talking about killing, massacres, famine, displacement, horror, and like all the negative feelings that we used to hear about them, but we never endure them to such level. So yeah, that's in general.
Thank you so much. Shrouq, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm the correct person to talk about myself, but I'm just a civilian, a mother, a partner, a journalist, and this is what I used to be before all of this. But a new concept, a new description has been added to my bio as a widow, as a single mother of a great person, a great journalist, Rushdi Sarraj, who got killed in the second week of this genocide in October. But I don't know, but sometimes because I'm a mother, I can consider myself as a fighter. I'm always ready to fight because I have a baby. Fighting has many faces. It's not about carrying a weapon. It is about, you know, jumping around to secure your basic needs, your basic stuff, your water, your food, a place to stay at, and all of these, and finding clothes, for example. And all of these things is a kind of resistance, as a kind of fighting during such timing. So sometimes I feel like I'm a fighter, but a super exhausted fighter.
Shrouq, when the genocide started, you were outside Gaza, and now you are inside it. What happened? When and why did you return back to Gaza?
Well, on the 2nd of October, Rushdi and I, we were traveling for a work trip, and we decided to start it with performing Umrah, which is a religious praying in Mecca, in Saudi Arabia. And we decided to start it this way because this is a gift that I gifted to Rushdi during his birthday. That the gift was Umrah trip, and we started on this in the 2nd of October. We traveled on the 2nd of October, and it is supposed to be like a 1 to 2 months trip, but after 5 days of our journey, unfortunately the genocide started, and we decided to cancel everything and just return to Gaza. Rushdi was consisting on not letting me getting back to Gaza. He told me that you can go to Qatar, to Doha, because I have my siblings and part of my family are living there. So he was so insisting in not returning to Gaza and just going to Doha, along with Dania, our baby. She was 11 months old that day. And I refused. And I was like, whenever you go, I go. And I'm insisting to return to Gaza at such time because it's, you know, we are totally rooted. We are totally connected to Gaza. Rushdi and I, we got many opportunities to have work outside of Gaza and to stay outside, but each time we choose not to leave. And because we felt that somehow we are connected to this land, and also that we can do something here. So yeah, we returned on the 8th of October to Gaza Strip.
Okay, thank you. Shrouq, it must be very difficult, but I'll take you back to the 22nd of October 2023. On that day, I was sitting with our friends in Ahmed Naouq's house because his entire family were bombarded, 21 members, and they're all killed. So we were like sitting there and mourning the loss of his family. And while we were sitting there, suddenly a news came that the place where you were and Rushdi was bombarded, and you were injured. I think Dania also was injured, and Rushdi was killed. And it was a very difficult time, very difficult moment for us, but I can't imagine how it was for you. So if you can share with us anything on that day, what happened on that day?
Well, once we returned to Gaza on the 8th of October, we decided not to stay at our apartment because it is in the 7th floor and it is kind of risky to be in higher floors when it comes to apartments. So we moved to the family house of Rushdi's family, which is just 2 minutes away from our apartment. What happened on the 22nd of October, that Rushdi woke up like very early because he was preparing himself to go to do documentation inside the ambulances. And I was complaining actually. Okay, I totally agree with the importance of the coverage, but like at that time, every day we were witnessing direct attacks to the ambulances. So I was somehow trying to convince him to not do the coverage inside the ambulance and just make it like to do it like inside the hospital or whatever. So, and he told me like, if I'm not doing this, who's gonna do it? And this left me speechless actually, because I really understand, I'm a journalist as well, and I really understand the principles and the commitment as a journalist you carry inside when it comes at such timing to your country and your people. So before leaving at 10 a.m., Rushdi was trying to gather the family members, his mother, his siblings, to have breakfast together. Like some of us refused because they are not feeling that they want to eat breakfast now. So he was somehow so insisting on having the breakfast together. And he gathered all of us. And at 11 a.m., I remember that I just sat on the chair of the table, and a very nearby explosion were heard, like around, many explosions that made the food table just to move around. So, as you know, when it comes to very nearby explosions, as we call it, a carpet pumping, which is a series of explosions that happen in row and very massive ones. So we ran to the ground floor because it is somehow, we believe that it is secure, but you know, there's no way to secure yourself from rockets. So what happened that we rushed to the ground floor, and I was holding Rushdi's hand, and I was carrying Dania, my daughter. She was 11 months old, carrying her, and I was talking with him, like we were just beside each other, and I was talking with him. Do you think it is the attacks is happening by like very close? Do you think it is the neighbor, blah blah blah? Do you think they are targeting the street, our street? And we were just trying to know what is happening around, while the explosions were getting more closer and closer, until like suddenly Rushdi just moved from being beside me and he stood in front of me and my daughter, and he opened his arms, and I was like, at that moment I was really, you know, confusing what he's doing. So I put my hand on his shoulder, like I was asking him, like, what are you doing? Before even ending my sentence, everything went into into dust. Like everything turned into gray color. At that moment, because I didn't feel that anything that hit me, I'm not feeling any pain. So I thought that I lost my sugar pressure because of being, you know, anxious and traumatized. And then because I like everything, like totally, like the vision was just gray, and I thought that it is the sugar pressure, and then I started to smell gunpowder. So somehow I thought they pumped someplace around, because I'm still feeling that I'm just sound, nothing happened to me. That's why I did not imagine that the attack happened on the home where we are, because the vision lasted for a few minutes being gray. So I tried just to look for Rushdi. I tried to touch my daughter, and I felt that she's moving, she's not crying, so I thought she's okay. Then I tried just to out my hands looking for Rushdi, searching for him. He's not in front of me and he's not besides me. And still the vision is not clear. So I grabbed my phone from my pocket because I wanted to turn in the flash lighter. And I turned the flash lighter and I just tried to move, but I could not. I felt there is something that's very heavy lying on my legs, but I don't know what is that. You imagine how gray the vision was. So I light up the lighter, and I found Rushdi was lying on my legs, that I could not move. I pulled. I was not able to see his head, but I saw the body. So I searched for his arm and I pulled it because I thought he lost his conscience. I'm not feeling that we are being targeted. I don't know, but you know, at such moments you didn't catch it easily or like rapidly. They are shooting. Okay. You can hear the gunshot in the background. This is the Israeli airplanes shooting. So I pulled his hand, and he did not resist. Okay, totally fine. I tried just to hold on my timber, and I just thought that he is losing his conscience. And then I started to scream for help, because I believed like when the attack happened, we were all in line along with the siblings of Rushdi and the mother. So I was like, Rushdi, we need help. Help me just to get him out because of the gray vision. And that was, okay, we pulled him. We tried to move, but we found out that the house was targeted with 2 rockets. We barely found our way out of the house outside, and once we made it outside, like literally in the front door of the house, which is totally we are in the street now. We put Rushdi on the ground, and then I found out that he is injured. He was partly breathing. He was gasping at that moment, and I tried just to check what is his injury. I tried as much as I can to hold my timber, and everything happened. I was holding my daughter. I just checked her in a few seconds, like she's okay, no blood, okay, she's sound, she's not screaming. Then Rushdi was bleeding like hell. I found out that his head, the injury was in his head, that I could see his brain from inside. And he was looking at me. He tried to tell me something, but he could not. And I still remember.
Okay. So sorry, Shrouq, wallah. Take your time.
Totally fine. So I still remember that look, that I could not understand it till this moment. So I thought, because he was gasping at that moment, so I thought I might help him, because we are counting, you know, a direct hit, an injury in the head. The brain is, like, I can see the brain from inside. So I thought that I might do anything. So I started to scream, help, ambulances. At the same time, the carpet bombing was continuing, and like everything was falling apart around us at that moment. So I because nobody's like literally nobody is like responding to us. So I called my doctor, my brother. He's a doctor, a physician, and I explained to him like, look, Rushdi is injured. I can see the brain. The brain is in, not out. He's not able to talk. He's barely breathing. What shall I do? And he told me like Shrouq, you cannot do anything. The ambulances will never reach the area until the carpet bombing is done, because the area is just under heavy attacks and not reachable for the ambulances. So he told me, Shrouq, you have to carry him to the hospital on foot. And we did so. We carried Rushdi and we moved to the hospital on foot. So I called my doctor brother. I explained to him the case of Rushdi, like aside if he got surprised for what happened. He told me like, sure, you cannot do anything to him, and the ambulances will never reach the area while the carpet bombing is still ongoing. So you have to carry him on foot to the hospital. And we did so. We carried him on foot to the hospital while the explosions were everywhere. Like I remember that everywhere, like everything were flying around, but I remember at that moment I was not afraid of the explosions. Never. And this is the first time that to feel numb, not being traumatized of the bombardment around, because all of my focus was on the status of Rushdi. And I remember that like in the front of the street that there were some people, they were like screaming, asking us just to come closer so they can give us a hand in carrying Rushdi, because they cannot just enter the street as the street is still under bombardment. And we reached the hospital after 15 minutes on foot, Al-Quds Hospital in Tel Al-Hawa neighborhood. But just very few, like after almost 10 minutes of arriving the hospital, Rushdi is gone. His injury is severe in the brain at a time that hospitals are overwhelmed with casualties. And if we're gonna talk about the doctors and their specialties, and so those who are specialized in the nervous system are just very few, and it's so impossible to ask any doctor to come, because like they are already in the operation rooms in the Gaza Strip hospitals. Yeah, this is what happened.
You portrayed a very profound image of Rushdi standing, spreading his hands to protect both of you and Dania. So do you think that he saw it coming, or he felt it, or what happened? How did he just protected both of you at the last moment?
Rushdi got killed while he was giving us a shield. We I raised up like as anybody else, like knowing that in movies the star of the movie dies by the end of the film to protect, like in protecting his girl or partner or whatever. But I've never imagined that I will live this moment. Like losing Rushdi is something. He is losing his life to protect us, Danny and I, is something else. I don't know how he felt it, how he just stepped in front of us to give us a shield. But like everything happened in a very few seconds that I could not even able to explain, to ask him what he was doing at that moment. But he made it because he felt it. Later on, after like almost 2 weeks of the passing of Rushdi, a very the Israeli war plans targeted the next door neighbor of the home that I moved to, which is my sister's home. And I remember that my daughter, it was the midnight, and my daughter was sleeping on the bed. When I first heard the first rocket, I jumped. I really jumped and covered her with my body. Few seconds, another attack happened. I got injured. Shambles fell on me at that moment. But I protect her. And I really didn't know how I made it. But when I did so, I started to understand why Rushdi protect us to lose his life. This is something that you will never control it, because I lived this moment. I got to understand if I felt that there any risk will be happening, I will cover Rushdi as well, because we are not just a mere partners. Rushdi I used to call him as my best friend. I've never called him my husband, because I feel best friends are quite more deeper in terms of being so close. So whenever I go any place, like, this is Rushdi, my best friend, this is Rushdi, Habibi. And this is how I used to introduce him whenever I go. Despite he's already known, that everybody knows him, but sometimes when I have to introduce him, I introduce him this way. Because I believe not all husbands are great, and I felt that if I gonna refer to him as a husband, there might be something feeling in terms of the feelings that I hold for him, and he holds the same back for me. So yeah, just to let you know, till this moment, I cannot talk about Rushdi in the past tense. This is something that I cannot do it.
Thank you, Shrouq. That's very, very powerful. And your story with Rushdi has been also known in Gaza. We've always looked to your love and loved your relationship. And you and Rushdi have been very dear friends of us. But talking about Rushdi reminds me of the first time I met him. I met him at the Great March of Return. I was there as a participant in 2018. And he was with Yasser Murtaja at that time. Both of them were documenting the Great March of Return, what's happening, and all of that. And they went, they met me and they asked me if I can be part of their film about the Great March of Return. I said yes, and they documented at the beginning when I was a participant, believing in the international community and thinking that they might do something for seeing the atrocious crimes committed against us, for only calling for our right of return. And then my shift from believing in the international community to stopping of becoming a participant and becoming a paramedic at the field hospital to help the injured and the people killed because of their believing in the international community. And they were there all over the process all the time. And then on the 6th of April 2018, Yasser himself was killed at the Great March of Return as a journalist with his vests. And after that, in this genocide, Rushdi himself was killed. So you stood out of that and you led Ain Media. But tell us more, how Ain Media was able to continue after all of that. And if you can, after that, talk more about the attacks and targeting of journalists in Gaza, specifically at this genocide.
Well, basically, Ain Media is a media production company established in 2012. it was co-founded by two dear best friends, Yasser Murtaja and Rushdi Sarraj. They shared vision together to do such production company at such timing that the production companies in Gaza and Gaza were very few. So that's why Ain Media is one of the leading company here in media production. On 2018, Yasser Murtaja got killed by Israeli sniper while he was documenting the Great March of Return by the border between Gaza and the occupied territories. And Yasser was along with the team filming, doing a documentary about the Great March of Return. And that was the first shock to the company, that one of the a great base, Yasser is a great base. He's the co-founder along with Rushdi, and losing him was let me say a breakdown to the company. But Rushdi decided to continue because he felt that this company is doing something in terms of the documentation of the violence and the apartheid practices here in Gaza at such time of having Gaza under siege. So after 5 years of losing Yasser, Rushdi got killed. So we are talking about the two co-founders of the company being killed by Israeli army. And it was never easy to first to return to the field, to the same field that you lost your husband in. Journalism gathered Rushdi and I together. Journalism left us apart as well. It was never easy, especially after 2 months of losing Rushdi, I decided to, along with the team, to refunction the company, because we felt that this is for such reasons, such companies have been established. So it is just out of your ethical commitment to go to your country, along with to your people, and also to your team. On the 7th of October, Ain Media lost the videographer Ibrahim Lafi, and 2 other colleagues, journalists, got missed so far till this moment, Haytham Abdul Wahid and Nidal Louhaidi. Later on, after 2 weeks, Ain Media lost the director and co-founder of the company, Rushdi Sarraj. Then after a few months, the company lost the brother of Rushdi. He's a videographer. Mahmoud Sarraj got killed during the 2-month ceasefire. He got killed during the ceasefire, yes. He was filming in the north when an Israeli drone hit them. He got killed along with the team he was joining. So we are talking about a company that has lost many of the team members, the director, and it felt like refunctioning the company. It feels like the phoenix, literally, because we are getting back to the field after being displaced in the south, and the office is in the north, so we have 0 equipment with us, plus not having a source of electricity, a source of internet to do uploading for the materials. So it was a total a state of chaos, literally. And it was never easy to to represent Rushdi, but I felt until this moment that it is just a periodic timing, that I'm just leading this and Rushdi somehow gonna return to the office. Why I'm saying this? That is because we are losing our dear ones. At the same time, we are being displaced. At the same time, we are being targeted, escaping, running for water, running for food, and all of this stuff, and not having a single moment to breathe, to have a say, and to weep over the losses. So, as a journalist, mother, it was never easy to get back to the field, especially after losing my partner. And going to the field, leaving my daughter, it was infant at that time, leaving her at a place, at the place that we were displaced at, was unbearable, because I was all the time checking the news to make sure that she's in a safe place, that nothing happened in the area where she is. And also because of the systematic killing of journalists that we have seen during this genocide. Like, so far, plus 225 journalists have been killed, whether they are along with their families or in a duty. So it means that the press vest is marked as a target. And literally, to be honest, I felt somehow traumatized over losing my life, not because I'm caring about myself, but because I have an orphan daughter that I have to return for her, that she will never be losing two parents. I raised up without my two parents as an orphan, and I know each feeling. Like, it's just like an ocean of feelings, of negative feelings that the orphan endures. So that's why I keep thinking about making sure I'm not going to risk to red areas, to do coverage in a very risky areas, and so because of my daughter. Targeting journalists is like let me say, we keep hearing about the international law, the production of journalists, and all of those, red flags, and then we found out that this is just ridiculous. This is nonsense, because nothing happened to protect us during such timing. Also, the Israeli army is blocking the international, the foreigner journalists to enter Gaza to help us during the coverage, which is an ultimate need for us here as journalists, because having foreigners, internationals here, means that we might have that sense of being protected because of those internationals. And also, we are on a duty since day one, and we are talking about almost 2 years of genocide. We are super exhausted, extremely exhausted. And I think it's time just for all of us just to relax, to collapse, not relax. And this time will not happen until the ceasefire goes into effect. Otherwise, we are just awake all the time.
Unfortunately. Shrouq, you said that you're tired, you're exhausted, and someone like you, very able, capable, and have connections, you must have a way to get out of Gaza, specifically with the genocide, with the famine, with the displacement, and all of that. But you haven't. Why is that?
I received many opportunities to leave Gaza during the genocide, but I always choose not to leave. I refuse this because I felt that it is somehow I don't know. I cannot, I cannot generalize my state along with others. I cannot judge anybody. Those who left Gaza, like everyone deserves just to run for safety. But I felt like a sense of betrayal to the grave of Rushdi if I'm leaving, and leaving Rushdi here in a grave. I felt somehow I could not understand this feeling actually, and I could not. I tried. I literally tried, but I cannot. Also, when we are talking about a genocide that is just still ongoing in Gaza, in your place, on your people, it means if you made it outside, like physically, you will never make it outside psychologically, because you will keep all the time your eye on the internet, on the news. You scroll down each, like a very tiny piece of every news, just to make sure that your beloved ones are safe. And that I cannot just bear that, that guilty of being survivor and living outside without my beloved ones. So I choose not to leave. Otherwise, I'm gonna be dying slowly because of being traumatized over everything.
I can totally understand. Being outside was the worst thing, maybe, I felt since the beginning of the genocide, while everyone I loved was actually inside Gaza. But also now I'm seeing people are suffering massively from the famine in Gaza, the Israeli engineered famine, actually, and hunger of the people in Gaza. And I remember that when I came to the UK first time, I was telling people that although I lived in Gaza for about 2 decades under Israeli siege, blockade, and also like we had 6 Israeli aggressions over Gaza, or less at that time, I've never seen a homeless in Gaza, because we've always stood together as a community. And my first homeless that I've seen was actually in the UK. And now, unfortunately, with the genocide and everything that Israel is committing, every single person in Gaza is homeless. And not just that, with the famine, with the hunger and all of that, it's so difficult. In the last month, I had my loving, beautiful, funny, and smart cousin, Muhammad, young cousin, killed while trying to reach for aid for his orphaned siblings inside Gaza. He went like hoping for a bag of flour, and he returned to them in bag himself. He had a quadricopter bombarding him in his head again, exploding the back of his head, and he was killed. And I felt so much pain, like unbearable. Not just because we've lost him, like we loved him, we were so close as friends and cousins, but also because he was killed for fishing for food, for being hungry, to feed his own family. And that itself is very, very painful. And I can't imagine like how people in Gaza are dealing with that, with the famine, how like you yourself is dealing with hunger. Your daughter, she's so little. How is she and the children are dealing with that? How's the community in Gaza is dealing with this engineered famine by Israel?
Well, the famine this time is hitting severely. Like we are in the peak of the famine. Literally nothing available in the market. Like in the past weeks, we were talking about the skyrocketing prices of what left of food at the market, but now we are talking about closing the markets. The markets are having zero to offer for people. I'm one of the society. I'm one of them. I don't have flour, and I'm waiting the aid trucks to enter, same as others, because otherwise we will be dying slowly. What like the problem here, that holding the sense of helplessness, that my daughter, she spent more than half of her life during the genocide relying on nonsense food, on canned food with zero value, and this is just a burden to add on my shoulder, especially at such timing. And I'm trying to feed her whatever available, but my daughter, she doesn't know what fruits look like. My daughter doesn't know the chocolate, all of these snacks, and also my daughter doesn't know how swings looks like. The swings, because I'm not moving around with my daughter, and most of the entertainment places have been destroyed. So unfortunately, those years, like at such age, such kids should be enjoying the maximum level of joyful, but unfortunately I cannot offer my daughter anything, literally anything. So what I'm relying at the home that I am displaced at is what I stored of food, like a few dates, few sugar, and this is a treasure, to have a sugar at such timing. But I cannot imagine. And I'm a working mother. Like, even if the prices are quite expensive, I'm a small family. I only have my daughter. Sometimes I purchase this stuff because I have no option. But I've never understand how the other families are feeling and coping when they are having, many kids, a big family, and they are losing the source of income because of the genocide. People are not managing. I'm not managing as well, and we are all desperate. And I totally understand why the desperate, starving people are going to the death traps, to the aid distribution sites, because you will never stand the cries of your baby asking for food to eat.
Must be so difficult. I remember yesterday I was with a child, around a 3-year-old, here in the UK, and the child didn't eat for 3 hours, just 3 hours. He had his breakfast, but he was late for lunch, and he cried like constantly, and that was like insane. If this child who was already fed and is well fed was crying for like 3 hours of no food, how mothers and fathers are dealing with hunger and the situation of their children, not to mention their own hunger, because they're mostly more affected than their children because they brutalize portions for them. But from that, Shrouq, J.K. Rowling, probably you know her as the author of Harry Potter books. She identifies herself or claims that she is a feminist, and she calls for women's rights and their protection. However, herself and so many other Western and influential feminists were so silent through this genocide, a genocide that have killed more women than have killed in any place. So we have the greatest feminicide in Gaza. We have so many Israeli abuses against women, sexual abuse, rape. We have also displacing of women, gender-based violence against women and children, and all of those things. However, those feminists or self-claimed feminists are still silent and not doing anything. So why do you think that those well-known mainstream media women or feminists are still silent? And why women suffering, Palestinian women suffering, as your own struggle and suffering, are still invisible to these feminists?
Unfortunately, many organizations, many human rights organizations, the feminist organizations and others, even the children organization, they failed us. We hear, okay, about they're condemning, they condemned what is happening, they call for ceasefire, okay. All right, what is next? Nothing. And that's how we feel betrayed. As Shrouq, I believed in the feminist organizations. I've always believed in the human rights organizations and children protection organizations and all of these kind of whatever organizations. They are whatever now, literally. We expected more. We are not being killed just to hear your condolences. We are actually what we are expecting just that, to make more pressure in the media, more pressure on the governments, and more pressure on the decision makers to make this madness to stop. And I can admit that I feel we are being betrayed. The big umbrella, the big balloon of organizations, they are just a balloon. They have nothing inside, unfortunately.
True. Shrouq, with that, like, I myself grew up watching Harry Potter, and people in my age also have seen like so many of their movies or read their books. Could you share like a demand or speak with J.K. Rowling and ask her to start speaking about what's happening in Gaza, what's happening to women, to children, that she has like devoted her life writing children books, to say something specifically that she has a huge amount of fans, might be able to do something or make a change for the people in Gaza?
All right, so we raised up watching Harry Potter. It was like in Gaza, in Gaza. It was when the first top watched series here in Gaza, and I thought, because it reminds me of my childhood, it's totally connected with my childhood. I thought that the writer of the Harry Potter might show any support for us. She's a woman, and she understands what it feels like to be a woman, and whatever fiction she wrote, she will never imagine the catastrophic situation that we are enduring here. But because she's a writer, and I believe writers, they have that a deep sense of that touchy sense of with others, and I'm expecting more from her because she's totally connected with my childhood.
Shrouq, beyond talking about the suffering and the suffering of women and all of that's very important, but the silence on women's suffering is something, but the silencing and erasure of men's suffering is even way more that we can see like in Western media and the narrative and all of that. So for the men, they're either like portrayed as deserving what happened to them, deserving their murder, or like portrayed as villain, or being totally erased from the narrative of what's happening, with people are only like talking about women or children, but men are not talking about at all. So they're erased. So from that, why do you think like the international media or the Western narrative is erasing men from the conversation? And how does that affect the perception of men within the genocide?
Okay, so I've seen that there are some Western outlets, they are focusing on women, which is great. But yet there are other Western outlets, they are showing us as objects, as statistics, as deserve to be killed, and also dehumanizing us. Like, we are talking about women, like part of them are pregnant in a dire condition, with no medical checkups, with no medication, with no follow-ups, with no food, as the malnutrition is just hitting all of us here, and being displaced, living in a tent, enduring the heat of summer and the cold of winter, and losing dear ones, and all of this horrific sense. And yet there are some Western media outlets are featuring us as objectives, as numbers, as people deserve to be killed, and which is such a call of ethnic cleansing. You are calling for ethnic cleansing of children, those who are supposed to be enrolling in educational institutions, not losing their second academic year enrolled so far, to run after water and to run after shelters, to run after soup kitchens if available. But at such timing, they are not. And we are talking about children like losing their limbs in a very early age. We are not talking about a genocide that ends with a ceasefire, never. We are talking about a lifetime genocide. Those scars that left after the genocide, that they will never heal. Those who got killed will never return after genocide. And this is what we are trying to convince each other is here. And those kids, like I remember one of the kids once told me, I lost my hand, but I'm gonna get it back when the genocide ends. This is the childhood of this little kid, and more as others. And we are talking about thousands that have been killed, thousands that have lost their parents, whether a single one or the two of them. And some are still missing somewhere. Nobody knows where they are. Living in tents, in nylon, in fabric, makeshift tent that never protects you from anything, literally anything. And yet the media, the Western media, is still featuring them as people deserve to be killed. Those people, those young children, the women, the men, all of us, we deserve a better life. And we cannot wait until the ceasefire goes into effect, and we will show you how we love life.
Inshallah, Shrouq, thank you so much. Shrouq, you just been awarded Emmy Prize, and that was for your journalist work, for your professionalism and all of that. So first of all, congratulations. And I saw you wrote on your Facebook as dedication for this winning of Emmy, saying, and I quote, "To my mother, whose face I no longer remember, to my father, who died heartbroken after losing her, to my love partner, Rushdi, who showed me how life could bloom, but forgot to teach me how to live with burned gardens inside my heart. And finally, to our shining moons, the martyred journalists who give their lives for the truth the world refuses to see." End of quotation. And this is a very profound way to speak about Emmy Prize. So tell us, how do you feel about winning this prize, and how does it make any difference for you being inside Gaza right now?
Okay, recently I received the Emmy Award over a film that I co-produced it with other colleagues, and I've never imagined that this film will win the Emmy. Like having the Emmy is not a personal thing. Literally, like honestly, I'm not dealing with the Emmy Prize as a personal achievement. It's never. It is it's a bigger thing for all of us, especially the journalists that they have lost their life for nothing, literally for nothing. It like winning the Emmy means that there are some organizations, some media outlet outside, they are showing support, they are showing solidarity, and also they are recognizing our work. And this is what actually I felt, that we are being recognized on a very big platforms, we are being named on those platforms, and which it means that our suffering is seen. People are seeing and feeling us. And if I'm gonna talk about the Emmy as Shrouq, no, I don't consider it as a personal prize. It is for all of us. But what actually, like, let me say, give me that sense of being comfort is that my personal Emmy is just to have my best friend, my partner, my husband, my habibi, the father of my daughter, being named on the stage during the acceptance speech. This is my Emmy.
My final question is from that. So, do you think, Shrouq, think the world is doing enough for Gaza? Do you think that there is more that they can do? Like the world itself, the journalists, the media companies, the feminists, what else can they do?
I believe if people are showing a one hand against these crimes, the genocide will not last for such period so far. There is a must need, an urgent need for all of the media outlets, for the Western media, for the foreigner journalists, for the human rights organizations, the feminist organizations, the kid protection organizations, all of these related organizations, just to stand, to have a word against all of the crimes and make more pressure on the media to lead the decision makers, the government, to do any action to stop this. If the world showed such kind of support, then genocide will not take as long as it takes now.
Thank you so much, Shrouq. Thank you so much for joining us in the podcast. Thank you for sharing your testimony.
Thanks, Hala. It's really a pleasure to check with you and to talk with the audience.
You're welcome. We're very privileged to have you here and to listen to your story and your struggles. And I end by saying that, as you said, we need to remember that mobilization, solidarity, and the unwavering commitment of journalists like yourself with everything you're doing is what prevents erasure of the Palestinians. But we need to remember that this is not something that you have to do by yourself alone. It's our collective commitment and should be our fight, not yours only. So thank you so much, Shrouq, and lovely to see you again.
I want to add something else, that for all of the people, make sure that the stories of the numbers are being told, the stories of the numbers, and also the stories of the people, the beloved people that you know. Make sure that it's never fades. Okay, that's it. Sorry, I'm losing my I'm losing my concentration. That is because I'm not having my breakfast for sure, because there's no food. My message to the people, just to make sure that the stories behind the statistics should be told, because we are a human being, and make sure that the stories of these people are never fade. I would love to thank you all for listening to me, for having me today. It's an honor, and I really wish we're gonna talk later in a peacetime, hopefully very soon, and ceasefire now.
Inshallah, thank you so much, Shrouq. And this is one of the most important goals of this podcast here, is to shed the light on the stories and to be, for the people to be known, their dreams, their ambitions, their struggles, their suffering, and their, loving moments to be also known and shared everywhere. And hopefully the genocide will end soon, and I'll meet you in person, inshallah, in Gaza. Take care of yourself, and I'm so happy that I saw you.
Habibti, it's my pleasure.